Welcome back. Since Nikki took over as the state Democratic Party chair, she has managed modest victories in a few races around the state. But a fundamental problem for Democrats remain. The party, which used to have a commanding lead over Republicans and registered voters, is now far behind Republicans. That registration advantage helped propel DeSantis' 19-point win last year, and is one of the reasons many people see Florida as a red state now. So what does Freed plan to do about that?
I think that most people across the country know that November 2022 was a pretty dark day for Florida Democrats up and down the ballot. Record losses in areas where we should have never lost, and competitiveness that was gone. So we have to get back down to the basics. And part of that getting back to the basics is voter registration. It's year-round organizing. It's motivating the base. And so putting money back into voter registration is essential. Because unfortunately, for the last couple of election cycles, the Democratic Party has really been farming out our voter registration by allowing third parties to handle the very important voter contact and persuasiveness. So when I took over as chair in February, I said, we've got to get back to the things that Democrats have always done well. And part of that, again, is voter registration. And so we have been able to really allocate $1 million, and that's just a start. Because I have no doubt that the excitement, the energy that is coming from Florida Dems now, seeing the work that we're doing, that we're going to have additional resources. But to start, and all of those resources are going to start going down to our counties. We've asked all of our county officials and our statewide caucuses to be submitting very strategic, very detail-oriented plans of where they want to target, where they want to make sure that they've lost ground. And so that is where the money is going to start, is going down to counties that need the additional resources, that need the strategy ideas that we're going to be bringing to the table. So we're excited for this. We know that the people of our state haven't been hearing a lot from us in the last couple of years. They sure will now.
Well, let's pick up on that thought. You know, obviously, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but there was a time when Democrats had a 700,000 vote advantage in terms of the number of Democrats registered in the state versus Florida versus Republicans. And now I think Republicans are somewhere above 400,000 in terms of vote totals, that there are 400,000 more Republicans now registered than Democrats. That's almost like a million voter swing in the matter of since Barack Obama was president.
Yep.
You know, some of it is you know, obviously the work of knocking on doors and encouraging people to be registered. But do you also think that some of that shift has been because the Democratic Party hasn't articulated a clear message in Florida?
Oh, absolutely. That is absolutely part of the problem. That when we started seeing after President Obama, and I'm going to even take it back further. I'm going to take it back to the 90s, when we had such a commanding control of our state politics. But unfortunately, since 1994, we haven't elected a governor. Lawton Chiles was our last elected Democratic governor. And since then, we've only had 3 statewide electeds: myself, Alex Sink, and Senator Nelson. And so what we have seen is the Democrats took the 700,000 plus, the voter advantage, the amount of times that we're able to really control statewide elections, and took it for granted, and didn't do the work that, as we saw more and more people moving into our state, we saw the demographics of our state changing. We, in a lot of ways, lost the blue dog Democrats, the Dixiecrats, and we didn't do enough afterwards to expand our base, to be talking to people. We just kind of continued to do what had been done in previous years, and that doesn't work. So we have to go back and have those conversations with people and really share the message of who are we as Democrats? What do we stand for? What do we fight for? And regain the trust of the people of our state who haven't been hearing our message. And most importantly, a consistent, unified message. You know, you see Democrats across our state talking about different issues here and there. And at the end of the day, Floridians are suffering. Whether it is property insurance, whether it is access to healthcare. I mean, this weekend alone is the anniversary of Medicaid and Medicare, and we've got a U.S. senator who wants to dismantle both of those programs, and one he committed significant fraud through. But these are the things that we as Democrats have done. Stand up for the working class, stand up to build a middle class, and make sure that people in our state have the ability to live a life that is free of gun violence, that has opportunities for small business owners, and to just live away from the government oppression that you have been seeing over the last 5 years. So it is part of messaging that we are going to be taking to the ground. And most importantly, we're going to be listening a lot to the people.
It seems like COVID was a pivotal moment in this regard. I know that during the pandemic, Republicans continued to knock on doors and register voters and encourage that. And that's really when Republicans passed Democrats, that was the final push, was during the couple of years of the pandemic. While Democrats thought that we shouldn't do that Democrats shouldn't be engaged in that sort of behavior because it would send a mixed message that we weren't being responsible. In hindsight, was that a mistake that the Democrats made in terms of not registering people throughout the pandemic?
Yes, in a lot of ways, it is, but it's not, it goes even further than that. I mean, if you look at even since the 2018 election, when we lost Senator Nelson, we lost the majority of the executive ticket. I was able to squeak by and win and flip a seat by almost 17 points. But unfortunately, the Democratic Party apparatus felt defeated. And they didn't continue to energize and continue door knocking. And then the pandemic hit, and everybody stayed home and refused to be out there. And granted, you have to make sure that there was that balance of protecting, the health and the wellness of the people in the party, in our communities and in our state. And there was in a time when, new information was coming every single day as far as how to make sure that you were keeping your family safe. But there should have been ways that we should have figured out how to do it safely. But unfortunately, the party just stopped, and we never really rebooted until this year. And that's the kind of work that we're having to overcome.
I'm wondering too, though, if the demographics of Florida have shifted in the last couple of years, in part because of COVID. The folks who are moving to Florida, who buy into the notion of the free state of Florida that the governor has trumpeted, and so you have a lot of conservatives moving into Florida. At the same time, I've spoken to, I'm sure you've heard from people who are leaving the state, who are Democrats, because they think the state is in some ways lost and they don't want to raise a family here. If they're a gay couple, they don't want to remain here. Teachers, I hear from teachers who say, I don't want to teach in Florida. I'd rather try to take my teaching degree and go elsewhere to another part of the country. How much is it, though, that demographics have shifted so much to where Democrats won't be able to make up that difference?
Well, first, I'm going to also add another category. After the atrocious immigration bill that DeSantis just signed, you're also now going to see a lot of our immigrant population leaving as well. If you've got one member of your family that is undocumented, your entire family is now leaving, which is close to 30% of our workforce are now going to be in jeopardy of not being here anymore. The demographics of our state have changed, but it has always been changing. We have consistently seen, why would you not want to come and live in Florida? We've got the most beautiful beaches and sunshine and opportunities, no income tax. That's not Ron DeSantis. That is the history of our state. And so people have always come to Florida. And so the people that are coming here now are seeing and understanding, it is not because of Ron DeSantis's policies. It's because of the fact of who we are. We've got year-round sunshine. Yes, we've got hurricanes. And we always have to make sure that we're protected for them. But people have always been moving here. The problem has been that you haven't heard from the Democrats when they've come here, that all they hear when they get here is the propaganda and the rhetoric from Ron DeSantis and all of his enablers. And so once you are starting to see an aggressive Democratic Party with a unified message, standing up for the issues that they care about, they're going to understand that they can have it both. They can come to Florida, they can come for the sunshine, they can come for the beaches, they can come for no income tax, and they can actually have a free state of Florida. So they can have their best of both worlds.
Well, I wonder sometimes if there's also for these new arrivals something of sticker shock, in the sense of they thought they were coming for one thing, and now they come here and the property insurance rates are up. The affordability is one of the worst in the country to be able to survive here in Florida. Insurance rates, suddenly that house that they built, they're seeing insurance rates the highest in the nation. I'm wondering if there's a path for Democrats to take some of those people who moved here believing one thing and are now facing a different reality. How do you reach out to them? How do you find them? How do you message to them?
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. And whether you are coming here, including those that are retired, if you are coming here to our state thinking that this is a great area for you to retire to, you get here and all of a sudden your property insurance has gone through the roof, if you can find property insurance, and your total cost of living, because Florida's inflation is the highest in the entire nation, as we've seen. President Biden's economic policies working and inflation going down, our GDP going up. But here in Florida, you can't find an affordable home. You can't find affordable property insurance. And my God, our healthcare system, I've got a 93-year-old grandmother who fell a few weeks ago, and getting her in and out of rehab, and the health insurance companies just don't care. And they're coming here and they're seeing that they don't have the support here that they thought they were going to have. And so, yes, getting to those communities is going to be important, making sure that we are looking at those individuals who have come in here to our state. And that's going to be part of our game. It's not just the game plan. It is not just getting new voter registration, but it's also talking to the people that have moved here who may have taken their voter registration from another state. Because let me tell you, Republicans in California and New York and some other parts of our country that are coming here are not the Republicans of Florida. They are true conservatives. That's not what the Republican in Florida are. And so when we are able to say, actually, Democrats want less taxes, less spending, local control, making sure that your local community leaders that are able to do what they need to do, and you start having those conversations, they start to wake up and say, wait a second, maybe I made a mistake here. And so that's going to be part of the conversations that are going to be happening on the ground.
When we come back, a few thoughts about Miami-Dade Police Director Freddie Ramirez. We'll be right back.